Matthew Schniper. I am co-host of Tap and Table. My co-host Ryan Hannigan is behind the camera there. Today we're with Cindy and Jeff from Leaning Tree Micro Farm in Fowler, Colorado, which is about 30 minutes outside of Pueblo. Welcome guys, thanks for joining us, or thanks for having us to the farm.
Thank you for coming out.
So we want to take a tour with you and just have you walk us through the field, tell us all about these peppers you're growing, and we'll get into where you can find those in Colorado Springs and everything as well. So where are we? What's happening right now?
Well, we've got it is a true micro farm. It's about 1.5 acres planted, but we have 7 miles of low volume, low pressure drip irrigation feeding 60 varieties of the world's hottest peppers, 10 varieties of heirloom tomatoes, cucumbers, zucchini. The peppers are the main crop. Anything from Carolina Reapers, Morugas, Hellboys, Scotch Brains, St. Lucia bonnets, Maldivian bonnets, Jamaican bonnets, Freeport bonnets, all the way down to the real mild peppers, chilacas, 5 types of jalapenos. We grow a little bit of everything to make sure we make everybody happy depending on what type of heat level they like.
And you mentioned also roulette pepper, which is your own creation or brand, is that right?
We do a lot of crosses here, some intentional, some completely unintentional. We have a whole few rows actually of unintentional that we planted this year. We crossed a Jamaican Scotch bonnet with a Carolina Reaper and a ghost pepper, and came up with, we can show you them they're out further out in the field, a unusual plant which puts out several different types of colors and shapes of pepper on the same plant, but has a very sweet medium heat that lends itself to the sauces, the jams, the spicy coffee, any of the medium heat requirements. The roulette's pretty much our go-to, wouldn't you say, Cindy?
Are those on the vine now? Are those?
Oh yes.
You want to head that way? We'll just tour that direction.
We can work that way.
Yeah, let's head that way.
There are some
too.
ripe ones, yeah.
So tell me too, how many acres are you on? What was this land before you got it? What's the little history here?
The property is a 1901 farm, or what's left of it. The school over here was the rest of the farm. That was taken a long time ago. I'm not exactly sure when. This was a small hayfield that, when I bought the property, had been abandoned for about 15 years.
Okay.
Cleaned it up, redid the house, built the barn, and started running the field.
And you were telling me a little bit about how you fertilize. Can you walk us through real quick that cycle of what you do between seasons and how you get this field ready for growing?
The only thing we do prep and fertilizer wise is have composted manure ripped into the field usually in December, and then it sits for months until the spring, and a buddy of mine comes over and rolls it, mulches it, and lays in the furrows, which you can still kind of see. We lay the drip line along the furrows, and everything that we start in the greenhouse comes out into the field, plug it in, and let it grow. We have different stages, different sizes. These are shishito peppers here, a appetizer Japanese blistering pepper, and then the hot stuff is over here. Well, actually most of it's pretty hot. We do have Japanese shishitos and their brother, the Spanish padrones, which are almost identical, just a little bigger. And
you mentioned all this is on a drip system, so it's extremely water efficient. Even though you're on well water here, you're using your water wisely.
We have the drip irrigation. The emitters run 0.12 gallon per hour drip, and it's supposed to be run at 8 or 9 PSI. I think we're running at 5 at most. The whole thing's fed with garden hoses. And one of the goals here, no pesticides, no herbicides, organic approach. But one of the other goals is to use as absolute little water as possible. Everything you see here in the field, the heirloom tomatoes, the different pepper zones all the way back to the south end, you can water the entire field with just under 700 gallons.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's impressive.
Your average house uses 300 a day for a family. We use 55 because of the way I redid the house. But the field, the funny thing is, with all the rain this year, we haven't had to run the drip that much. Some of these are starting to ripen out.
And so those are, when they're ready, what's your determination? Is it start to wrinkle and dry just a little bit and you know
Well,
it's
unfortunately,
prime?
my job is tasting the peppers and seeing where they're at. So most mornings by 7 o'clock, I'm here in the field, and as things are ripening, I'm picking them and tasting them.
Okay.
So, you might end up grabbing a ghost pepper at 6:30 in the morning. And that's, can be a little rough. But then you get into the Reapers and the Hellboys and the Marugas at 7 in the morning. That's kind of painful depending on your day. I love Crazy Hot, but there's a pepper we have back here that I'm going to send you home with a few. We crossed a true Thai chili. And I'm talking the Thai chili that you'll see one on the side of your plate.
Okay.
At a good Thai restaurant.
Yeah, the little guy that's just
little
straight
evil
fire.
guy, all right? Well, we crossed those with Carolina Reapers.
Okay.
And I tested one a week ago, and I think it was Monday, a week ago Monday. I was like, it's not even developed, it's not even close to ripe, it can't be any hotter, I was shocked, and I will freely admit I went for the ice cream pretty quickly. I was out of the field like that. They're going to be brutal when they're ripe, but the flavor,
Yeah.
they have that perfume beginning and then a spike, that Thai spike heat that just spreads when the Reaper kicks in.
That's amazing. Do you think that's going to be really, what would you advise someone to do? Use it a little, very, very little bit, and use it in Thai cooking or something
Oh yeah, absolutely. A lot of people will dry them and use them as a spice for the off season. We have a lot of our customers, both retail and commercial. They'll make mashes, they'll make their own hot sauces. We grow Helios habaneros. There's a few rows of them out here, and white habaneros for salsa companies. Little Trinis up in Colorado Springs, Lojo salsa up in Colorado Springs. And we ship cases and cases of fresh peppers all over the country to salsa companies that we don't know personally, but they know what we put out, and they order accordingly every year. In fact, they all started calling last week. Are the peppers ready? No, not yet.
And do you do
No, not yet.
your own seed saving? Is that how you create these hybrid varieties? What's your process like for the germination of all these?
Well, the hybrid crosses, again, sometimes we'll put a couple of plants together, literally right next to each other, to see if they'll cross, will it work? You won't know until you plant the seeds the following season, so it's a bit of a crapshoot. Some of our best crosses were purely accidental.
Okay.
You're picking a Scotch bonnet, and you're like, hey, there's a ghost pepper in there. Or, that looks weird, what did it cross with? And try to figure out, and then you taste it, you're like, oh no, it's definitely crossed with the Carolina Reapers, because a Reaper has a very specific flavor and very specific heat profile. So it's probably 50-50 between intentional, trying to create a new pepper, and hey, that's cool, let's plant it next year and see what happens.
Yeah.
And what's neat is when you plant them, you'll get, say you plant 100, germinate them in the greenhouse, put them in the field. 5 will show the cross. The other will be either a Scotch bonnet or a Reaper or whatever its parent was.
Okay.
But you'll get 4 or 5 out of a run like that of really strange peppers. And those are the ones that we're looking for.
Cool.
So you try those, give them to a few people, customers, and we know, what do you think? Save the seeds from the rest. Grow them hard the following season.
Cool.
A lot of time goes into it, but it's fun. What's that?
The
Roulettes are in here.
So we're looking for basically a lot on the same plant of different colors. Is that what defines
these
this one?
are definitely not ripening
just yet.
This is an orange. Is this roulette here, Cindy?
Yes.
Yeah, this is orange. Every year the roulettes do something a little bit different. This is new. They normally have a rounder,
this is normal.
more traditional shape to them.
This is more.
Normal roulette.
So that's more pointed than you're used to
And this
seeing.
is more pointed. When it has the point, it's going to tell me that it's either going to have a lot of ghost in it or possibly have a lot of Reaper in it. If they grow an actual like curly tail, we know there's going to be Reaper in it. This tells me there's a lot of ghost in this one, which means there's only one way to find out.
I was going to ask, how much do you eat to find out? Do you take the little mouse nibble or you go for it?
He is the tester.
Wow.
I don't do the real heavy heat like he can. So
Super sweet, like unbelievably sweet. Really crazy sweet, actually. We told you the roulette yielded a sweet medium heat.
Has it kicked in yet? Anything too?
Oh yeah, now that's roulette heat. They've got roulette heat. It's medium. It's maybe strong habanero, borderline ghost heat.
Can I bite it? All right, so this is either going to destroy me or
Super sweet.
I'll be fine.
Got that sweet up front,
Yeah,
like really sweet.
yeah. A nice, like the little earthy bell pepper forward. But the heat's starting to come in.
Right now I've mainly got tongue heat.
Yeah, and I think I hit just a little seed and vein there in the middle. Now
Yep.
I'm starting to get that oily
Yep.
mid heat, but it's not too bad. I mean, Ryan's the expert. He takes a lot more heat than me. This is going to be candy for him, but
It's a medium heat in my opinion.
yeah, it's not getting overwhelming. It's not spiking. I'm not like running for ice cream.
And that's what we like about the roulette is it's a medium, super sweet medium. It lends itself to a lot of our products because we can't make everything reaper hot.
Yeah. What do you think, Ryan? You've got a high heat tolerance. What's that like?
I mean, I got a lot of seeds and the little veiny stuff inside. It's got a great heat,
You get that
I
sweet
would-
flavor up front though?
good flavor. I think I got more of the heat than the sweetness on that. You know,
On the back side of the pepper.
I
Yeah.
got the end of it.
Habanero heat, right?
I would call it habanero scorpion
Yeah.
sharpness.
Yep.
But yeah,
It's nice smolder, but it's totally tolerable. And you haven't, I've tried. You sent me some things several months ago that
this is hot.
some of it blew me out of the water. So
Yes,
we'll get to
well,
some nice hot stuff.
We
too,
have
but-
some other ones. And then next to it, we've got, these are Arriba jalapenos, which are one of the hotter jalapenos, but again, super tasty, rather prolific. We grow 5 types of jalapenos, and this is one of them.
So for people who are, go ahead.
I like to use the jalapenos. I make the savory jalapeno candy, which is
It's
AKA cowboy candy,
cowboy
but it's
candy,
trademarked,
which is
so-
trademarked in Texas by a couple who's owned the trademark for about 30 years, so we can't call it cowboy candy. But
Call it
and we take
cowgirl
trademark
candy.
very seriously, so we
have-
call it savory
jalapeno candy.
Okay.
Now I do a triple, and I'll use 3 different kind of our jalapenos with different varying heats, and it's a little hotter than your normal cowboy candy would be. It's kind of our take. And then we took our Bulgarian carrot peppers, which have the smoky, higher heat, and we created something called prairie candy.
Okay.
That is, we could call prairie candy because we created it. It's not trademarked, but we live on the prairie and we just thought it was appropriate. It's made the exact same way as our cowboy candy is, only with a different pepper.
Okay. How many times, so for people who have never grown this at home or don't know, you plant this plant, how long will it produce? How many peppers will you get off a single plant in a season, roughly?
Wow.
If the season goes late, which is what we hope for, last year we were still harvesting on November 4th.
Wow.
Yeah. These can be prolific. The super hots, you're talking per plant,
Dozens
50, 60 peppers
50,
minimum.
60, okay. So
Minimum.
here we are looking
You're
at all
talking
this
pounds per plant.
pounds per plant, yeah.
Yeah.
Pounds per plant.
Very cool.
Especially if they're grown right, you have decent seed stock. These are all greenhouse starts. We sit down in the greenhouse March 2nd every year. And 10 days later, we come back out of the greenhouse after planting 15, 18,000 seeds.
Wow.
And that's a big part of a solid plant.
Is there any companion planting going on for any beneficial flavors you want to get, or just soil amendments or anything else out here? I'm not sure what I'm looking at over here, but anything you would want to companion plant with peppers strategically?
The basil we plant with peppers.
That's only for bugs.
It's mainly for bugs.
We'll line the field with corn and basil.
For shade.
Corn and basil, just to get some shade.
The bugs hit the corn and the basil first, and then they stop.
We have zucchini in between those 2 rows because the sun is so hot out here
Cooks them.
that it will cook our zucchini and cucumbers. So
It'll cook them on the vine.
yes, literally. And so we line both sides of the zucchini and the cucumbers are lined with corn. to
Just
give
for a little
that
shade.
Okay. And you told me, we were talking earlier, here in Fowler, your high during the summer can be as high as 108.
105, 106, 107, no
We had
problem.
108 this
We had
year.
100, I think it was 108 about a month
So
ago.
about 10 degrees hotter than Pueblo or the Springs at any given
Absolutely.
time.
Yes.
And you said it's like sort of a high, dry mesa. Not what's your altitude here? Do you know?
4,400.
Okay.
About 4,400.
A little bit lower than actually, but high wind. You said.
We get high winds in the spring. It's generally super dry, but this year has been the sort of outlier because according to local farmers, my friends and whatnot around here, nobody's seen this much rain out here since 1990.
No way. And you said you got.
We had multiple 5-6 inch storms.
Wow.
Yeah, which again, the field drains beautifully, but these driving rows around the outside, that was some deep water. But from a conditioning of the soil standpoint to grow in, we're not complaining one bit because the opposite of that, which is the norm, is no rain.
Right.
And that's why the drip irrigation is critical. But this year we've barely been running the drip because the soil's conditioned almost 2 feet down, wet, and it just keeps raining. And it doesn't just keep raining, it keeps raining inches.
Wow.
It's awesome, but it's unusual and it's not the norm.
Yeah.
We'll take it though.
Sure.
This is unplanted, just overgrown. We do have some maintenance to do back here, but where the peppers and all the important stuff is, we keep that weeded out.
And this is the size that the two of you alone can handle. Your hand weeding, your hand planting. This is just a 2-person operation.
3-person.
3-person.
Cindy, myself, and our friend Lisa, who lives right
Greenhouse
back there.
Okay.
The greenhouse behind on the south end
So
of that
that's
field.
Lisa will come down and help you do the planting days.
She
or-
works in the greenhouse with us. She helps plant. She's been out here weeding. Recently, she's been out picking. She is a machine in the greenhouse and the field.
Yes.
Cool.
Yeah.
So it's still really small operation. So
Oh,
someone,
absolutely.
so-
It has to be manageable.
And we're gonna, when we sit back down, we'll talk more about how you got to be doing all this. But for people watching this too, they're gonna be able to come buy these at the Old Colorado City Farmers Market.
In Bancroft Park every Saturday we're there. It started back in early June and it runs through the end of October. We're there every Saturday. We were there yesterday. It was packed. As more and more peppers become ripe, the heirloom tomatoes ripen up, which should be next week. Yeah, we bring 40, 50, 60 types of peppers, 10 types of heirloom tomatoes, all of the tasty hot products that we make. That's the only market we do, but it's, in our opinion, one of the best markets in the state.
Cool. And then people could also order direct from you through.
They can order online. Our farm stand out front will be reopening in 2 weeks.
Okay.
We sold starter plants for 6 weeks in the spring. Unbelievable response.
Cool.
And people came from Pueblo. They came from
Los Animas.
They came from all over.
So you're starting to develop a name in the local region of, those are the pepper people.
If you need heat, come see us.
That's cool.
And so the farm stand here will be open Friday, Saturday, Sunday, starting in 2 weeks. That's officially. Unofficially, of course, it will be open Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday because we live here. So people show up, we're in the field, the dog barks, I go sell them stuff. I come back in the field. A couple hours later, the dog barks, someone showed up. It's one of those
Good problem to have.
Pavlovian type things, you know.
Yeah, totally.
It's nice because, again, we do live here. A lot of people love to see the field. Yeah, come see the field. Come see the greenhouse.
We give them tours. They come out, they want to see the operation, and we're happy to walk them back here and show them. And
We hope that other people will, again, this is very small.
Yeah.
Don't get us wrong. This is a true micro farm. But you can fit 15, 18, 20,000 plants in a space this big. You've heard of square foot gardening.
Yes.
There's an emitter on the drip line every 12 inches. So we are essentially square foot gardening. But the reality is, yes, it's a lot of work, but anybody could pull this off.
Yeah.
Anybody could pull it off.
I
And
will
it's
say-
a bunch of fun, extremely rewarding. And well, I have a thing for really hot peppers, so it suits many purposes, many needs.
I will also say, while we've been talking, you guys gave me coffee inside, which people can pick up at the farmer's market. This is awesome. You put your peppers in the coffee. Tell me a little bit more about that, because I'm enjoying drinking this.
Well, the roulette pepper that we all just tasted with that sweet but habanero-ish scorpion heat, we dry them, we grind them. We add them to gillies, dark chocolate roast. Gillies is in Brooklyn, America's oldest coffee company, and they make an amazing product. So we grind the peppers, we mix them in with the grounds, we bag them, and we do samples up at the market. We have the air pots that you took the coffee from, and people try it, and they're like, okay, spicy coffee. This time of year it's spicy iced coffee. When it gets cooler in the fall at the market, we'll go to spicy hot coffee. And sort of became an instant bestseller when we released it a couple years ago.
It's great. Do you talk about, being pepper people, when people ask, do you talk about, without making the claims that can't be, the FDA will not agree with it, but what's the health benefits of this? What are the things that peppers help us do in our bodies? Do they, is it antioxidants? Is it polyphenols? Does it help us sweat and cool off when it's hot like this? Does it, vitamin C? I don't know. Like, what else would you say makes this nutritious for us?
A little bit about it. I don't know what all it does, but I know that for me personally, I have arthritis, and even though I'm not actually eating the pepper, when I'm picking the peppers, if I don't use gloves, the arthritis in my hands, the capsaicin gets in there, and it actually helps my arthritis.
Interesting.
A lot of the arthritis medications, creams and whatnot have
capsaicin in it.
Because it penetrates and then anti-inflammatory type property?
Major
Yes,
anti-inflammatory.
Very interesting.
Major anti-inflammatory.
In the mornings when you're drinking the coffee, it's an antioxidant, of course, and then it does have vitamins. I just don't remember which ones. But
And it's
it
gonna
actually
be
will
trace
kind of
in it.
kickstart your metabolism in the mornings, especially for anyone who's has a workout regimen or a heavy job that they've got to go to. I used to work at Target, so I used to throw boxes and working in warehousing. I would lift a lot of heavy stuff. I wish I'd had the spicy coffee back then to really kickstart my morning,
And if you like to sweat, you can drink a
I was
bunch
gonna
of
say,
it.
for me, it's like, make the food delicious. I love heat. I love tasting the flavors, but it is nice to get that extra benefit sometimes. Of like, oh, and by the way, this is grown, again, organically, with low water.
Take a look at, what are these? Is this a cross?
This is a Monte Frade crosses. Oh, let me try one of those.
That would be
these
mean.
These are our little peppers we use in cherry bombs.
Did we send
I'll
you
make
some of them?
I did see your cherry bomb.
prime.
Cherry bombs? Did you try them?
And we will.
Okay.
Did you like them?
Those are a
good.
Brazilian Monte Frade pepper, right? They have a natural cherry flavor that we wanted to bring out even more. So when we pickled them in dark cherry juice, and that did a really good job. But these little guys here, these plants are a little dry, which is part of why I kicked the irrigation on.
It's starting to drip. You can see the one down there.
Yeah.
Tiny little red pepper that packs a unbelievable amount of flavor and a frightening punch.
And that's the full size of that guy. It's
That
just
is. It's just like.
In fact,
a
this
cherry.
one,
Wow. I'll get out of the sun.
You're good.
that's it.
So that little guy, we look at it and our eyes don't say that there's a threat here, but you're saying that guy will light you up.
Oh, big time. You'll get a few seconds of the sweet cherry flavor and then pounding heat. Bad heat.
Right to the pain train.
But then next to it, these are shalakas.
Well, these are red savinas here.
These are red
Those
savinas.
500,000 scovilles.
Wow.
So these are a really hot red habanero.
I was going to ask you, what is the hottest pepper you have on the farm?
Carolina Reaper.
Carolina Reapers.
Okay, and what you just mentioned was 500,000. What's a Reaper by comparison to the Scoville
A
units?
Reaper can be 2.5
2.5,
million.
2.4,
yeah.
2.5
Wow,
easily.
okay.
They're up there.
Now, this is a fun question, but what is your single personal best worst experience of a heat overwhelm? Like, did you come out and try pepper one day and just destroy yourself? Like, 15 minutes later you're still sweating, or what's your favorite, like, I hurt myself with peppers story?
It was with peppers. I was making something called atomic relish.
Yes.
We got a hold of some Garza pickles that we love from up in Springs and decided we need to make a hot pickle relish.
Hot dogs.
Hot dogs,
Brats and things like
anything.
that.
So I made a good sized pot of it. Nothing ever bothers me heat-wise past here. Never has for some reason. Don't know why. I can eat Reapers. Doesn't bother me past here. So I made this big pot of atomic relish. Smelled great, looked great, great mix. Ton of hot peppers in it. Marugas, Reapers, Ghosts. And then I tried it before I went to jar it. And if you soaked battery acid in old socks, and I'm not sure what else that kind of would start to describe the flavor. But the flavor wasn't really the issue. It was the burn. Instantaneous, all the way down. And I was worried I screwed something up, which when you're messing with super hot peppers, especially 10, 20 of them at a time in a mix, it happens. I decided to jar it, water process it, and see what it was like the next day. We opened it up the next morning, and it had done a 180 and turned into, that was one of our fastest selling.
Out like that.
It was
Did it get tame, more
It
tame?
did.
Oh,
Okay.
it didn't just tame. The flavor was incredible. The heat was mind-blowing, but it mellowed out after the water process, and literally that was one of our fastest selling sauces.
Interesting.
But in the beginning, I almost threw it out.
And were you also, so you felt it go all the way to
Oh,
your
I felt
toes,
it all the
but
way down. My
did your-
scalp was sweating.
Your
My
heart rate
face
go up?
was
Were you
sweating.
like, I might have to
my
drive myself
eyelids
over
were
to the
sweating. You name it, it started sweating. And
That was me when I ate the Reaper.
So that's your story. What's your personal first favorite, ouch, I hurt myself with pepper story?
The first year that we grew Reapers,
Yes.
I wanted to know what the hype was about. And so I was like, okay, and I'm a whip with heat, okay? I'm what you consider one of the masses people. By masses, I mean what normal people would consider hot.
Okay.
Okay, that's me, lightweight. So I decided I was gonna eat a Reaper. And
Now, right
I
off the
did.
plant, like fresh.
I did.
Yeah,
I
right
did,
off the
right
plant.
off the plant. And literally, it burnt me from here all the way down, and I was literally crying. I mean,
You had the hiccups for
I
half
think
an hour.
I threw up.
No, you didn't throw up. You had the
I
hiccups.
felt like I
You-
was gonna
You
throw
had the
up.
hiccups for half an hour.
Yes, instant hiccups.
Some
And if-
people, when
anytime I
they eat
something
super
above
hot
my
peppers,
level,
Yeah.
instant hiccups.
So it was just all pain and discomfort.
It was
and
bad. It
not
was real
happy.
bad. I have not done it again. I will never ever do it again. But I learned a valuable lesson from doing that because, you know, when I'm making the hot jams and stuff, I've got to know what the heat level is. You know, in order for me to make it for the masses or whatever.
Or for the crazy people like
he
us.
does more of the seasoning for the crazy hot heads, okay, pepper heads. I do the seasonings for the masses.
Smart. So when you come see you at the market, you have products for both of us. If someone says, oh, I got a low tolerance, hey, you want these. Hey, I have a high tolerance, you want those.
Yep.
That's right.
You can cater to anyone's desired heat
Yeah,
level.
and that's one of the nice things. I mean, like these, a chalaca pepper that you'd use for a mole sauce or a yucateco sauce, which we've made, has less heat than a mild jalapeno.
Okay.
So this is the low end of the spectrum. But then you get into the Carolina Reapers, the Hellboys, and the other things, which are the other extreme of the spectrum.
Sure.
And we make, and that's one of the reasons we grow so many varieties. A, it's a bunch of fun. B, every pepper has its own flavor profile, heat profile.
And use.
And use. But we need to be able to make a little bit of everything for everybody. And so it's chalacas all the way up to Reapers and everything in between.
Which
Cool.
this is only about 2,500 on the Scoville scale.
Yeah.
Okay.
These are super mild, but they have an amazing flavor and they roast beautifully.
Nice.
I'll eat
We
that.
do have
Eat
a
that
couple
later.
of this year, and we've never grown them before, but of some seasoning peppers because we do like the flavor, and so we've got some red Venezuelan tiger peppers out here, and we've got some Trinidad pimentos, which are, I know it sounds like, you know,
Find a
Trinidad,
regular-
Trinidad, and you're like, oh, it's going to be hot. They're actually a sweet pepper, and they're a seasoning pepper that they use in the Caribbean. So we got those, thinking we would try those with some of our
This is what I was
sauces.
looking for.
Cool.
Our
know what-
biggest crop are Scotch bonnets.
That's your largest crop.
This is
The flying saucers. I'll pull a green one for reference. That is a Jamaican Scotch bonnet. It has the bonnet or flying saucer shape. This one's not ripe, so it won't have the great flavors and things. But we grow several types of bonnets. You got a red one there for me?
Yeah, I do.
Those are beautiful peppers. They're just such a neat shape.
A little different shade.
They do come in different shapes. They're not 100% flying saucers, but the Scotch bonnet, jerk chicken, any jerk seasoning, Jamaican food, most Indian food, which I'm a huge fan of, has a base around the Scotch bonnet pepper. Fresh, we sell huge quantities of them all over the country. I mean, boxes and boxes and boxes. We dry them, sell them online, mainly on Amazon. 2 of the top 10 selling pepper products on Amazon are our dried Scotch bonnets, which we'll show you bags of inside. And you're talking $14, $15 an ounce or $240 a pound. And we can't keep them in stock.
Wow.
Now, ton of work, starting from seed, growing them, picking them, washing them twice, drying them for 6 weeks the old-fashioned way on racks with a fan, no heat. But they last forever when they're dried that way, and they rehydrate beautifully. We grow more of these than anything else. Anything else. Scotch bonnets.
Now, I saw you had one Facebook page was Colorado Scotch Bonnets, and another is Leaning Tree Micro Farm. Is that a separate sub-brand, or what's the affiliation with that title or brand?
We actually got Colorado Scotch Bonnets was a site that started because the demand here in the U.S. for Scotch bonnets, no one was growing them, and they were extremely hard to get a hold of. And so we were like, oh, well, we'll just start.
We had people calling, emailing, over and over
so
and
we call
over.
it Colorado because we live in Colorado, and we grow mainly Scotch bonnets for sale. So that's where that came. Leaning Tree was a name that, if you notice, all of our trees, because of the wind out here, they all lean.
They'll lean, front to back.
The Leaning Tree came from the leaning trees that we have on our property. And Leaning Tree is technically the farm name. Colorado Scotch Bonnets is just the website name.
Okay.
So they're the same entity.
Gotcha.
Just different names.
Cool. Well, I know we're all getting hot out here. The day is getting hotter as we go, so maybe we'll head inside now for more of the interview segment. But yeah, let's go tour the greenhouse too.
Yep.
So we have
Heirloom tomatoes on both sides, ripening slowly.
This is also a big part of our farmers market. These heirloom tomatoes.
10 varieties
People
of heirloom
love
tomatoes.
them. We're waiting for the ripening. As you see, the finally ripening.
Yep,
So we'll
got
have them
Japanese
this
black
week
trifles
now
ripening
at
over
farmers
there.
market this week.
All kinds of good
Nice.
stuff.
There's 10 varieties here.
It's almost like a mini pizza garden in terms of you got your basil, you got your tomato. If you
Salsa
like
stand.
peppers, salsa
We
stand.
are the one-stop salsa stop at market. And we even grow sage. We sell it
Sage.
fresh in bouquets at market.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Along with the basil that gets ripped up. He has a basil station at the market. So you can
We've
get
got,
fresh basil by
You get a
the cup.
bouquet and stuffed into a solo cup like this for
wow.
$5 of fresh cut basil.
No way.
Yes. It's
That's-
the best deal in the market.
No
and
kidding.
People love it, and we usually sell out before 11 o'clock.
Yeah, I need to come for
We
that.
bring 30 plants. I rip them out of the ground the night before on Friday nights.
So
People line up for it.
Go in
It's
Wow.
hysterical.
there.
Wow.
Yeah.
So this is where it
A
all
little
starts.
cooler in here.
For a moment.
For a moment.
Well, if you keep that door mainly closed.